If you are growing up in the early 90s, chances are you know the classic show Ren and Stimpy, a show that was funny as it was disgusting. Although the show lost its charm throughout the years, not forgetting the disturbing adult party show, it is still considered a hallmark for all animation fans. Because of its success, make a game out of this crazy franchise would be inevitable. The story goes something like this. Stimpy has invented the Mutate-O-Matic, a machine that supposedly can turn garbage into delicious food. Ren is of course skeptical about that, and Stimpy wants to prove his invention worth something. Unfortunately, it explodes, and all the parts are scattered throughout the area. How convenient and original. It's up to the crazy duo to find all the pieces and turn the machine off. Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's invention for the Sega Genesis, is a traditional 2D platform that involves a lot of the stuff you can expect from platformers nowadays. Enemies to swat, items to collect, careful jumps to plan, yada yada yada. Ren and Stimpy themselves have a simple moveset and each one of them can jump, run, or use a weapon to attack. The cool thing about the game is that both Ren and Stimpy are on the screen at all times. It means that they have to cooperate in order to finish the game. When the two are next to each other, they can perform more complex maneuvers. Ren can use Stimpy to dig, Stimpy can use Ren as a little chopper to take him up, and Ren can leap to distances when you're riding on his pal.
No sexual innuendo whatsoever.
In addition, the two can also perform special attacks. Stimpy can throw Ren as a boomerang, while Ren can actually attack airborne enemies using Stimpy's nose grenade! The game has 5 levels in which you can witness some of the more bizarre level design choices of the 90s. You'll be in normal places such as the city, or more odd places such as the outdoors of an alien planet. Each stage is comprised of 2 or 3 segments. While most of them are the simple platforming affair, some of them are more unique, like the dog catcher scene in the city stage, or the ring match against Lump, and his amazing power of sitting. Yeah. The best thing that can be said about the game is the incorporation of co-op for 2 players. One player assumes the role of Ren, while the others assume it's Stimpy, and the game requires both players to rely on each other. If you do fall behind though, don't fear, you can always count on Powder Toast Man to save the day. It is also worth mentioning that the game is a lot harder when you're having a friend. While playing the single-player adventure, the idle character does not receive any damage at all. However, in the co-op game, both characters receive damage and they share the same life bar. So if one player sucks, both of them pay the price. Now let's talk more about the negative qualities of the game. The controls are far from sharp, and at times the camera doesn't allow the great view of the next obstacle you need to jump above, which leads to many inevitable deaths, especially at the beginning of the game. Which, by the way, brings me to the next problem, uneven difficulty. While the first level is fairly easy, level 2, the zoo, is easily the hardest level in the entire game because it requires a lot of memorization. If you barely manage to pass the water hazards and the hippos, you think those happy giraffes over here are just in the background. But no! They will gnaw your head off, and they will kill you again and again and again as long as you're in their range. So this requires a lot of trial and error, which of course is an essential in mediocre games. After you're done with the giraffes though, you think that's it for the level, but no, you get in a monkey cage, which is probably the easiest section of the game, until you get to the part you have to escape through the bird cage. And as you can pretty much tell, it's annoying as hell since you can barely fit in that thing. The final section of the level, when the two need to inflate themselves, is by far the most annoying part of the entire freaking game. Why? Because you cannot tell where those damn vultures are, and once they touch you, just slightly touch you, you bounce all over the frickin' place hitting those thorns and lose a lot of health in the process. Sure, the idea of Ren and Stimpy propelling themselves using their farts is hilarious, and in fact, it is. But when the controls are so stiff, you'll be yelling more than you're laughing! The reason why I'm describing this level so thoroughly is because the next 3 levels are surprisingly easier. In fact, the final level inside of Stimpy's Invention is the only challenging one, but for all the wrong reasons. It will be very frustrating to jump over the popping bubbles, and you'll get zapped by electricity and light bulbs very frequently. But the most embarrassing part of this level is that the developers were probably tired of this game so much they've thrown in switches as the final boss of the game. I am not kidding. Turning off switches as the final boss of the game. What an anticlimactic ending for this 1 hour game. Oh, and did I mention you can pretty much finish it less than an hour? Now, I know I might have been a little harsh thus far, but to be honest, it's not a bad game. On the graphics side, the game looks very faithful to the classic cartoon, and various locations are very zany and imaginative. Ren and Stimpy are well animated, and you will also be able to find many cameos from the show, such as Mr. Horse, and even the guy who hates circus midgets. You gotta love that guy. Some of the animations, though, are a little weird, like Lump seems to be dancing rather than chasing Ren and Stimpy. But I'm just nitpicking here. It's a very nice looking Genesis game. The music in the game leaves a lot to be desired. Actually, let's be honest, it kinda sucks. Although it's very playful, the Genesis sound processor has been used better beforehand, so there is no excuse for the poor performance. I feel cheated at times, that although we have Happy Happy Joy Joy at the credits, the level prior to that sounds like an old DOS game. I assume the main reason for the lack of quality in the music area is because of the sound effects. They fit the game very well, and the addition of the soundbites personalizes the game more than other platformers. Slapping Stimpy wouldn't be as much funny without Ren's classic say, and who can forget? Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's Invention, is a very nice platformer. It has personality, great graphics, and fun co-op elements that make it stand above some of the other platformers. However, the uneven difficulty, short length, and dull music doesn't allow it to stay at the top for very long. If you are a fan of the show, I would definitely recommend it since it's far from a bad game. But as it is, Ren and Stimpy gets a 6.5 out of 10.